Good evening.
Drink of choice.
My new sponsor.
I like ginger ale too. Yeah. Is that ginger ale for your ale that we're doing tonight?
Yeah, nah, it's something with lemon.
Yeah.
It could be like seltzer water.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the
I thought since it's Friday night, I'd do a rum and coke. I hope that's all right.
That's fine. I got a drink in my cup, so we're good.
We got booze. I'm just pacing myself. It's easy you're a New Hampshire guy. I mean, so it's easy to get way in the bottle this time of year just to keep the party rolling,
Right.
keep the furnace warm.
Right, it's been dark since 4. Like,
right? Yeah. Does it even get light?
I thought it was supposed to get lighter earlier now, right? I don't know. I wake up and it's still like I have to let my dog out. And I'm like, I'd really want to wait till it's light out so I don't step in like a landmine somewhere. I go out back. I try to keep everything clean out there, but if I'm in the dark, I know I'm gonna miss something. So, but
yeah,
anyways.
I was in New Hampshire in November, and I was FaceTiming my wife, and it was dark in New Hampshire, but not in Florida, and she was just like,
"Yeah,
like what's going on?"
Yeah. This time of year sucks. I say from January 15th to March 1st. If you're in New Hampshire, man, it is brutal. So it is the worst time of year. There's nothing going on. It's dark. It's cold. It's gray. It's brown. It's it's nasty. So.
I mean, this time of year, this time of year you must enjoy being down there in Florida, right? I mean, it's we used to go every February on vacation, and it was like we'd be walking around in t-shirts and shorts in like 70-degree weather, and like all the natives are like freaking tourists, like they're all sitting there with sweatshirts and pants on.
Yeah, I like it. I've adjusted, unfortunately, which sucks, so I get cold here periodically, and that pisses me off. Like earlier, I was just like, what are you talking about? It never gets cold here. But, but it's all right. Yeah, this is a good time. But we're right in a heat wave right now. So it's like 80-something, which I know is horrible for you guys. But, like, it was nice. Nice weather last couple of days. You had the windows open, get some fresh air,
Yeah. Well, hey, Nick. Well, the book's not called Sunshine State Punk, so we can not crap on New Hampshire here, right? So we're here to talk about Granite State Punk. So.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of that, do you think, Travis, that a couple of drinks would help you enhance your creativity before writing or creating anything?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Have you ever used that resource?
Actually, I don't tend to drink when I write. I don't know why. I probably would, but I don't. I don't know why. It probably would help, but I like to have a good time and hang out. And I am always addicted to my phone. So if I start drinking and like a friend's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then I'll won't write.
Yeah.
No work involved.
It's so hard to put the phone down too, and then I don't know. Like when I'm writing comics, I can listen to whatever music I want. It can have words in it. Like I can just go with it. When I'm writing like prose, I have to have like no words playing. It has to be just like hard rock music with no words, basically. But I don't know. I can do it in drink though. The phone is the issue, like you said. I have to like hide it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could do it with drink. It's not something like I pour a drink and like sit down and like I'm gonna write tonight. I normally write with a Dunkin'. I go to a Dunkin', sit down, and write. And Dunkin' is awful in Florida. Like,
yes,
it is just fucking awful. But it's Dunkin', so you just got to deal with it because it's not Starbucks, right?
Yeah, we the year before the pandemic, we rented a house down there in Kissimmee, and to do all the Disney and stuff with the kids. And I'm like, where's the closest Dunkin'? And it was like a 10-minute drive. I'm like, that's not that bad. But yeah, the coffee was terrible. I still drove there every single morning because, like you said,
it's a New Hampshire thing. That is so typically New Hampshire. You guys like to go find the dumps, right? and we drink the iced coffee in the middle of winter too.
Right? Yeah. I drink iced coffee. My whole family drinks hot coffee. I drink iced coffee. It's just the way it is.
That's hilarious. That's my wife drinks hot coffee in the summer. I drink iced coffee all year long, and like right now it's single digits out, you know. And she's like, even now, seriously? I'm like, I got a koozie on it. It's like, it's not gonna melt. It's like, no, so my hand doesn't get cold holding it. So
mocha swirl every day.
Yes, there you go. Boom, my mocha swirl. You know my style. I get one. Well, I usually make one actually here in the morning. I've at least saved money there because I get 2 coffees a day. I drink my mocha in the morning that I make at home, and then afternoon I go down to the Dunks here. We got like 2 minutes away. Actually, I have 3 within a 5-minute radius, and in Florida I had to drive 10 minutes to find one. You know, it's third world problems, but.
Does anyone ever mistake you, Travis, for being Barry Gibb's son? Because he does have a son named Travis Gibb.
Yeah. So yes, in fact, even most recently. So here's the biggest problem with Barry Gibb's son, Travis. We are the same age. Exactly. Yeah. We both live in Florida. So I get it a lot. In fact, recently I was invited to, I shit you not, so on Instagram, the guy's like, hey, we've been looking for people like you. We want to get you on this show. And the show is going to be, you're going to talk about your dad, and people are going to guess who your dad is. And we'll get you on. I was like, I can join the show, but I don't think we're talking about the same dad.
You should have done it, and then they would have been wrong. They would have been asking all these questions, like trying to give hints to people, and you would be like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, no, so I've done it for years, the Barry Gibb. Even when I was younger, like there was this guy on AOL who was like, hey, you know, can you pretend that you're Barry Gibb's son so we can get ladies? And I was like, I don't want any ladies who are into the Bee Gees. Like, I am younger than that. I'm not that freaking old. But recently, someone has related me to another Gibb, which I was not aware of. So there's Douglas Gibb, who you guys probably don't know at all, but he's the big white guy in Bloodsport.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the big white guy. And again, someone asked me, hey, are you his son? Apparently he has a kid named Travis too. Like, what the F?
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. I wouldn't know that guy by name, but I definitely know the movie pretty well. Right? So.
Yeah, well, and if you saw the guy, you'd know who he is. I'll try to get a picture for him in a minute. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Well, yeah. So thanks for coming on. You know, I I reached out. I saw you had a new book coming out, based in New Hampshire, which was even cooler. But this is the first thing that I've gotten that you were involved in. We're new to the indie scene in the last year or so. But this book is great, man. I know you saw me tweet it. Just the quality of it's freaking awesome. And I tweeted about it. I'll definitely check that out every holiday season. But so I was like, all right, we got to get this guy on. He's from New Hampshire. The work you guys put out is awesome. And then I saw Granite State Punk, and I'm like, how perfect, you know? So, so thanks for coming on. But do you want to start by telling us a little bit about the book? I know you mentioned how personal it is to you, and killing it on Kickstarter, by the way, which is awesome. But
yeah. It's doing really good. Oh, we get 2. That's nice.
That was weird.
Well, I like the 2 because the one was just gazing at me fondly in the upper right. He was just looking at me.
You know, parallel universes.
Yeah, let me do that. Actually, let me start. I got to share this out to my network so people can come on and start chatting. We got to do that, right?
Yeah. It's weird. Some shows we get more interactions than others, and some shows we get way more views after the fact. You know, it's really depends on.
Do you have the same problem that I have when you share on Facebook? You have to go into Facebook and make it public.
Yeah, they do that now. My wife's always like, "Hey, switch to privacy so I can share that." I'm like, "Oh crap!"
Right. Well, switch it, and even to chat, like you can't read people's comments and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Let me find the link. But yeah, so Granite State Punk. So I was born and raised in Rochester, New Hampshire. So if you don't know where Rochester is, for people who aren't in New Hampshire, Joel's from New Hampshire, and both you and John are both from New Hampshire?
Yeah, we're both New Hampshire.
Where are you guys out of?
I'm in Deering, so it's small enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was born up in I was born up in Newport, New Hampshire, but I live here in Pembroke, New Hampshire now. So, but actually, one of my college roommates was from Rochester. So, you guys, it's a big town, so you guys probably didn't know each other. But anyway, So big for New Hampshire. Sorry.
Right. Exactly.
Probably didn't know each other, but anyway.
Well, what's his name? Maybe I know him.
The last name's Hart. I don't know. He's younger than his name's Joe Hart.
Not Owen Hart.
Yeah. Nope, not Owen Hart. No. He's still alive. That's
well, he said younger, so it had to be Owen. It couldn't be Brett. Think about it, Joel. Come on. All right, I gotta share it out. So I was born in Rochester, New Hampshire, and I wrote this book, Granite State Punk, about like living in that area. So I come from a very drug and alcohol family. Both my parents are dead now, but I came from a very heavily controlled family. My parents kind of controlled me, kind of kept me where I was while bad things were happening. And I wasn't allowed out of that area. And then one day my mom decided to go to AA and like it all changed. Right. So like my mom was like, oh, I want to be clean. My dad didn't. And like it got crazy. So this is like a fictionalized version of my anger of that and like living in that town and how I felt when I lived there. And both my parents are dead. So the character in this has dead parents. So he's been on probation. He's had drug and alcohol his whole life. He's been partying, punk rock lifestyle. He's on probation. He gets let out and goes to his parents' house. His parents are dead, and he starts to live all these memories. Same thing that I did when my parents died. And I went to their houses and like started digging through stuff, having to deal with all the repercussions of that. So that stuff's kind of real, but I also built it around the Man in the Mountain. I am devastated that New Hampshire is friggin' stupid. They have the Man in the Mountain on every friggin' thing in the thing, and they're like, nah, we're not going to rebuild that. Why? But they'll spend thousands of money on new parks every year for a stupid reason, but you can't rebuild the one thing that's on every friggin' coin and license plate and whatever. So I told a fictional story, and the story is about, the Salem witch trials happened, and the witches came and hid in New Hampshire, and they were hiding behind the Granite State. Old Man the Mountain was kind of hiding them, and when it fell, they kind of got revealed. And this is kind of the story of that, what that's about.
That's awesome. Yeah.
For those that don't know, the Old Man the Mountain was just a natural rock formation.
I'm about to share it.
Up in Franconia Notch, and if you got to a certain position, it looked like a profile of a guy's face for people that aren't New Hampshireites like us. So, and then
Rogerio has no idea what we're talking about. I don't,
but it was like, here's a picture of it. It was, very famous, and people settlers first coming here saw this, and they just were taken aback, and the Native Americans were very. It's like kind of one of their deities. And then during we had what was that, the Mother's Day rain or something? We had like rain for like 37 days in May, like 10 years ago or something, 15 years ago, and it fell. So the whole thing broke off and it's gone. So that's the story. Yeah, it's gone now. It fell off the mountain.
Freaking state landmark. Now we don't have it. So
yeah. So I wanted to write a story to talk about that because it was such a big thing. There's so much archive. In fact, I'm really proud of the story too because my wife is my editor, and even though I've written tons of stuff, I've written Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, Voodoo Nations. When she read it, she was like, "Hey, can I get the urban legends around this so I can, tie it with what you wrote?" And I was like, "No, I wrote that." And I was like, "You've never questioned me on like any of the voodoo stuff, but this, it's so good." I was like. Because I don't know if you know, it was like 30 years after the Salem witch trials is when they found the Old Man in the Mountain, the first reported finding of it. So it really ties in very, very well to that time period,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Just the whole idea of the story is so cool. I was reading about it on the Kickstarter page there, and I think obviously I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it sounds really cool how you tied it all together. So. Which we'll share some of the art here too coming up, but So, Rogerio, do you have anything in Brazil like that, like any landmarks like that like you guys identify with?
There's a big rock not far from here. If you go to a certain distance, you can kind of see a face. But that in a very specific time of the day, when the light is right, and you can see it. Some people see Jesus, some people see crazy stuff, but I don't see anything. I look and say, yeah, I think as a creative, I have a very short vision for that kind of stuff. But yeah, some people relate to that.
Yeah, I'm always curious because obviously that like identified this state, but the Salem witch trials too. For I mean, I don't know anyone in the U.S. that probably doesn't know about that, but outside of it, I mean, it's such a huge deal around here too. So, how far is Salem from here, Joel? Like an hour and a half, maybe?
Yeah, probably hour 15, depending on what state you're in. So it's in Massachusetts, north of Boston.
Yeah, so it's like such a big deal, especially around Halloween time. They could do the whole freaking like I went down with my wife before we had kids. They set up the whole town basically, and it's just like people celebrating witchcraft and all that. It's just wild. So
did they say they tied it back to there might have been something messed up with the wheat, right, in the bread that they were eating that made them have like psychedelic trips or something? I don't think I'm kind of paraphrasing.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, they were thinking that there was something that happened the way that they that particular year's crop of wheat and the way that they were storing it, it like fermented, but basically became like acid or something. So they're all like basically tripping balls and thinking everybody was a witch, and then like they had to like murder everybody because they thought everybody was a witch back then. Because if you were out of your mind, you were clearly a witch. So.
If you read New Hampshire urban legends, there's like this woman who ran from Salem to New Hampshire, and she got drowned 3 times in one. Like, I'm not a witch, and they finally killed her like 3 times. Like, she's like, no, I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch. Like, they prove it, they do the drowning, and then the 3rd time, no, she dies because you keep trying to drown her. Like, eventually she's gonna be like, I'm done.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah. Oh man.
But I found like when you're writing comics, if you can connect it to a landmark, it really resonates. When I was doing Voodoo Nations, since we got Roger here, I connected it to Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. Like I was doing Voodoo, and it's a book about Christianity versus Voodoo, and putting those two together really resonated. So, my cover is the big Voodoo priest on top of Christ the Redeemer doing all stuff. And I based it on a true event. I don't know if you're familiar with the event. There was a mine that kind of exploded and like killed a whole bunch of people in like 2019. Like this dam broke down and like destroyed like hundreds of villages and killed like a whole bunch of people. And I built this whole story about these missionaries who go down there to try to protect them, and these voodoo priests that try to protect them, and kind of tie it all together. I think that stuff's cool, right? Tying it to real lore, and then building a fictional history around it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm writing a novel right now. I don't know if you knew about the serial killer that was here in New Hampshire back in like the late 70s, maybe. They had an unsolved mystery.
Sarah Silverman? Episode. Yeah, I mean she's definitely really upset me a few times.
Oh man, no, they had an unsolved mysteries episode based off my hometown in Newport. There was a serial killer back in the 70s here, and I kind of had the same idea. Like the book's not about that serial killer, but I wrote it about a serial killer in the town. They had an unsolved mysteries episode on it, and it gets much more supernatural than that. But yeah, so like you said, like if you can take real life events and tie it in, it just adds to it. So, but yeah, I wanted to share some of the art too for this. Who is the artist on this, by the way? This art style is so awesome. It's
amazing art style. His name's Patrick. I have I can't say his last name. Brim.
That's okay. I'm still, we're almost 50 shows in, and I still pronounce Rogerio's name wrong. It's more because I'm gonna mess it up. It's Rogerio, right? And I can't say it like that naturally. I don't know why. So it's
because you see the R, like
Yeah, an ignorant American,
Yeah,
but yeah, I hired him. He's the best artist I've worked for. Like, and so modern, right? Like, if you look at something filmed with children right now, or Department of Truth, like this style is very modern of what people are into. Yeah. So I was very lucky to get him connected to this. So. Yeah, he kills it, man. He absolutely kills it.
Yeah, I'm gonna share. We were talking offline here about some of these New Hampshire pages here. So this isn't on the Kickstarter. I don't want to share too much of the non-Kickstarter pages, like you said.
No, but, you can share it. Share them. Go ahead. No big deal.
Yeah. So it's Geez, Zoom. Whoa. Okay.
Wow, great.
Yeah, they're like, so we got if you're from Rochester, you got the Jetpack Comixx is very, very known out there. And if you're from Rochester and you're back in the day, Royals Pizza was the shit.
Yeah.
It is the best pizza in the world.
Yeah, we were talking before the show. There was a, I guess they call it a club, but called Safe and Sound in Rochester. And I was in a hardcore metal punk band back then, so I was instantly saying, like, okay, here's a guy from Rochester. He's my age. They had to have gone to Safe and Sound. And man, like, that was just such an interesting time and place, because you could go there on like a Wednesday night, and there would be 300 or 400 like people there to see any band. It didn't matter who the hell was playing, right? It was just kind of like a magical era for indie music and things. So it's like, I'm hoping that you tied into that. And I think you mentioned that. So tell us a little bit about Safe and Sound and that scene in Rochester, what it was like having that in your backyard and how it inspired the story.
Yeah. So Safe and Sound isn't in this particular issue, but Safe and Sound was a big vibe for me. It was so great, and what was good about it, that you didn't get to mention is Safe and Sound was so big. It was like a big garage, like it's like an L shape, and there's like a big garage that you play. You could go there without paying, which tons of people did, and they'd kind of hang out in this like little courtyard and listen to the music that was going on inside. So it would be just as jam-packed outside without paying. A lot of times that's where I was, hanging out outside, not going in. But you would have band after band after band, and it was the youth. The youth kind of controlled it, right? It wasn't, there wasn't a lot of old timers there. It was all like high school kids and like early college kids would come out and play that scene, and bands from all over the state would come in and doing stuff. In fact, I probably shouldn't spoil it. So the goal of this book is to be under a publisher. That publisher, if it happens the way it's supposed to happen, I will actually come and do a punk concert with some people in New York. I'm going to do one here in Florida to test it out with this release. But if it works, I'm going to do it in New Hampshire, because in Florida, I can put on a punk show. Maybe nobody will come. But if you put one in New Hampshire, there's nothing else going on. They'll come. Like, it's always get the news up there.
I don't know what's at their old location, but man, if you could like rent the old.
I think it's. I think they've tore that area down. That's.
Area. Yeah, I know the family went all in, man, and they like lived in the basement of this place. Yeah, like they sold everything they owned to start this club, right? They lived in the basement, and there was like 5 of them. There was like the husband, the dad, the 3 kids or something. They all literally lived in the basement and had this club upstairs from their house.
Rochester is really cool. It's got a really cool music scene vibe. It's really thick. There's a house in New Hampshire that I know is local, that literally they play concerts at somebody's house. They open up the house when they do it, which is fucking cool. Like, how cool is that?
That was a very big Midwest thing. We went on and did like a East Coast tour, and you were playing in like people's living room and wherever, and it stuck being the drummer because you're like up against like a wall, like hitting your elbow. It's like it's 100 kids in your living room, and you're trying to have all your equipment there, and it's 300 degrees too, so it's hard. Yeah,
but I loved living up in that time. We're both about the same age, so that was where I spent my nights. That was the only place to go. Like literally, lack of options. You could go to the mall and play where you'd find me every day. I'm a Mortal Kombat master. Like, challenge me. Like Mortal Kombat, I would be at. It's called Dream Machine. I would be at the mall at Dream Machine, which is right next to the record store, and I would play Mortal Kombat from open to close every day, and then I would go to Safe and Sound.
Nice. Still remember the fatalities and all those moves. Still remember how to do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we didn't have an art. So you say that was your only option in Rochester. Again, I say that's a big town for New Hampshire. Newport, we had 6,000 people or something like that, and so we literally had 3 schools, 2 cemeteries, 2 campgrounds, a bowling alley, a McDonald's, and maybe like 2 pizza places, and like, so the bowling alley was like the hangout spot. But when we found arcades, we were like, my brother and I were just like in our glory, we didn't have anything like that up there. So, but I say that because Mortal Kombat, we got pretty good at it on the system. I don't know if we were playing in the arcade, you might kick my ass, but
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I have it here too. If you want to come visit Florida, you said you go to see me. We can make that happen. But you know what, Joe? I have a safe and sound story. If you'd like to hear it.
Yes. Bring it back.
It's not about safe and sound. It's about me trying to get to safe and sound.
Okay. All right.
So as I told you, my parents were drug and alcohol crazy. Because of that, I went the opposite route. Like I was completely clean. Growing up, straight edge. I had the X's on my hand, whole fucking nine. All right. But there's always a catch, right? When there's a girl, there's always that girl. So I went to my friend named Doug Heath. You guys are both in New Hampshire. You guys may have heard of Doug Heath. Doug Heath is my best friend. Let me tell you how you may have heard of Doug Heath. About 3 or 4 years ago in Rochester, New Hampshire, shot a guy outside of their car. He took shots at them and died. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Gangster.
I heard that story. Yeah.
That was my best friend growing up. So he was my best friend. We grew up. We didn't have any black kids in New Hampshire because that's just not a thing. So I hung out with my friend Doug, who listened to rap, and he had marijuana, and this girl wanted marijuana. So I got some marijuana from him. And I got my friend who was, his name was also Travis, and my friend Donnell, and we went to the store. We went to the store. We got some booze because my other friend Travis was tall and looked like John Lennon. Like he was like 7 foot tall and looked like John Lennon, so we could buy beer anywhere. And just to give you an idea, knowing that I didn't drink beer very well, I bought Kahlua mudslides because that was gonna be fancy.
At least it wasn't Zima or Dos Equis.
Right. So we got them. We got the girls, and then my friend Travis goes, "Hey man, there's 2 girls and there's 3 guys. That's not going to work out in my favor." Because he was the guy you hang out with for the beer, right? He wasn't.
Yeah.
So, me being cocky and arrogant, I go, "Well, let's go to the mall. We'll get you a girl, no problem." So me and my friend go to the mall and run around. So the plan is to get the beers, bring them out to Safe and Sound, because a lot of people, Safe and Sound, depending on the night, you couldn't drink, right? Depending on the night. I don't know if you remember that.
It was nothing. It was dry. It was a dry club. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we all drank in the parking lot, but I didn't. But I was there. So we're gonna drink and go to Safe and Sound. So we're all hanging out. We're all doing this stuff. I have the marijuana in my pocket. Again, never used anything. I go out, and again, this is before cell phones, ladies and gentlemen. So it was hard to communicate. My friend OJ, who used to play Mortal Kombat with me, comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing here?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "I'm just hanging at the mall, look for some chick." He's like, "Dude, I just called your mom. This security guard said Travis got arrested." Other Travis, not me. Well, so I can't call my mom and say, "Hey, Mom, I'm not arrested."
Right. Yeah.
So what do I have to do? I go to the police station. My mom.
With weed in your pocket?
So I go into the police station, and they, of course, bring me to the back with my mom. And they're like, "Hey, you had intentions of doing of drinking with these girls." Because they apparently had pre-gamed in the parking lot while they were waiting us to pick up the girls. Because we were probably in there half hour. Like, we didn't know how to pick up girls, like to just have a girl. So I'm sitting there, and I was taught to not trust cops because of my lifestyle, right? Or the way my parents raised me. I was trying to. So I am mouthing off to this cop. I'm like, "You got shit. I wasn't there. I don't know them." And this cop's like, You were supposed to be drinking with them. You were supposed to. I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just trying to bust me up, bringing my mom in here. You got nothing. I wasn't there. You didn't catch me." I'm running my own. My friend is sitting there quiet. "Yes, sir." And the cop's like, "This guy's a mess up. You need to stop hanging out with him. You need to stop hanging out." And then all of a sudden, I remember that I have marijuana in my pocket. And I shut the hell up. I go from like arrogant, like prick teenager to like, and this cop kept me there for about an hour trying to figure out why I just shut the hell up. So yeah, that was my story. We were trying to get Safe and Sound, and we were going to hang out with these girls. We were going to a concert, and that was the one time I tried, and I never ended up using that marijuana. I ended up going home and giving it to my dad because I was like, well, that's a bust. There you go. So that is my safe and sound trying to get there with some chick story. It's a very New England story, very 90s story.
Oh yeah.
It's probably the night that we were playing too, so you probably missed it. It's probably a good thing.
The worlds connect. Yeah. You don't go to a mall looking for girls anymore. I mean, I don't look for girls anywhere. I'm happily married.
Right.
Just saying. Yeah. You go to a mall now and you're looking at retirees doing their laps. So get
the malls are screwed.
Oh man, the Concord Mall is. So this tells you how small Newport was. The Concord Mall was a big deal to us. We would drive down here. It was an hour drive, and it was like when our parents took us to the mall, we would go there, and then we'd go do, what was it, Bear Right or whatever it was called? They had the arcade. Yeah. So that was like the big thing. We would do that every once in a while, and like we were so pumped, And now, I went to NHTI, so I lived in Concord during college, and
Sure.
Concord Mall. I worked at Circuit City. And I just realized how shitty the mall was, and obviously now it's like there's like 3 stores left. It's all boarded up. You just walk around and look for birds flying in the rafters, pretty much. But
when I was reading Brian Keene's Suburban Gothic, like the Steeplegate Mall was in my mind as the setting for that book because it takes place in an abandoned mall. I was thinking of Steeplegate.
Pretty much Steeplegate, yeah. So anyway, I just to give you an idea.
But Foxtrot is semi-good, right? Foxtrot is still a thing.
Pheasant, was it Pheasant Lane Mall in Nashville is bumping still.
Yeah, well, yeah, Mall in New Hampshire's still solid. They they got Dave and Buster's now. They got Buffalo Wild Wings. They're legit.
Yeah, I saw that. My brother lives right by there, and I saw that. And I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah,
because my family is semi a big deal in New Hampshire. Like, so have you been to Barrington? I mean, sure, Jurl has.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I haven't been in a long time, but yeah.
So, like, the Village Barn is my family. Caleb's, the 2 stores in Barrington, like, those are all the schools are my family's land. My family kind of like owns that town. Like, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. All my family was well off except for my particular family. My grandmother had 5 kids. I was the bottom one.
Yeah.
Well, we're listening to Rogerio. We're talking all New Hampshire stuff, and he's got nothing. He's like, I don't know where you guys are.
Yeah, I'm learning your stuff, but in fact, in the 90s, we were not so different because there was nothing else to do here. I could just go hang in the shopping center and then waiting for something to happen because there was nothing. I could stay the whole evening at home just doing random calls from my landline and just expecting some hot girl on the other side of the phone.
Wait, did you cold call? Look through a phone book and look for girls' names?
Yeah, we go. Oh yeah, that's Sharon here. Oh, that seems hot. Just ring that person. And then I would create all type of crazy shit to talk about. Sometimes, actually, I made a few friends doing that back then.
That's hilarious.
That was pre-internet. So
yeah, but back in the day for us, we could only call within the city. Like if you go to, I couldn't call Concord without paying money. If I was
yes, same here. pretty crap. When I talk to my nephews, I say, "Oh, you got it all easy. You got Instagram, you got all type of fancy TikToks and shit." It was hard back then.
Oh, you can't even go on a real date now. You have to use an app. Like if you go out to a bar and try to pick up someone, you're gonna get you're playing with fire.
Yeah, if you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was the indie music scene, Rogerio, in Brazil during that time? Was there places you could go like that, like we went to, or what was that like? Got a drink. Cover his mouth full.
I'm from a kind of it's not a big city, but it's not too small.
Yeah.
So many people, loads of people, and if you're good at playing football, you're well off. Which I wasn't. I was into comics and movies and stuff, and girls really didn't like that. And I had to make a big effort to learn how to dance, go to a party, and that was terrible. And that made me start drinking, because when you're young, you're very susceptible to people's opinion, and people are not very highly opinionated about myself. So I had to drink a lot and chat a lot more than usual. And if I got lucky, I would end up, like taking someone somewhere to do something. But that would rarely happen. I was really bad.
I love the taking somewhere to someone to somewhere to do something.
Yeah,
you can relate, right? Like, that was our growing up too. Like you would, I'll take you on a date. Like, all right, cool, we can go to Friendly's again. Like, I remember taking dates to the library, not because they were cool, but like there was literally nowhere else to go. So, hey, let's go way deep in the dark of the library and make out. Like,
dude,
like,
we went to that. We went to
Enfield.
Enfield, New Hampshire had the roller skating rink. They would do like the glow, like the glow nights or whatever. So that was in our bowling alley in Newport. They had glow night, so glow bowling or whatever. Apparently, I wanted to be a raver. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, and I would follow the fairs too. I would go to Rochester Fair, to Hopkins Fair. Like you go to the fairs and like follow them around, because that's the best entertainment you can get, right?
Hey, speaking of Hopkinton Fair, you say your family's a big deal. Hey, the horse pulling rink at Hopkinton Fair is named after my grandfather, so it's called Durgan Park or Durgan Horse. I don't even know what it's called. It's Durgan
Arena, sir.
Durgan Arena. Right. Yeah, sorry. Dude, my dad used to force me to go to the horse pulls, and I was bored out of my mind. I just wanted to go on the rides, But yeah, we used to go to all the fairs too.
Ironically, that was my wife. One of my wife and I's first dates was actually going to the horse pulls at Durgan Arena. Here we are, like John and I, 13 years later.
Apparently, my grandfather was like a legend horse puller. I don't know how you're good at. I don't know how the skill works. I should. It's in my family, but
go find a horse and just start pulling it and see what happens.
They just pull cement blocks. Like I don't. Yeah, I will say that's what going to. I don't remember my grandfather too much because he died when I was pretty young of colon cancer. But I remember going and watching the first football game I ever watched was the Cowboys and Bills in the Super Bowl, and I've been a Cowboys fan ever since. And it's been basically that was like the last year they won pretty much. So basically my whole time being a football fan, I've been miserable. But
I was a Dallas fan when Emmitt Smith was winning back in the day, when the 90s. Yeah.
I had all the jerseys.
I gave up on them like any adult.
Hey man, listen, I try. Technically, I am a bandwagon fan, but I'm a legit bandwagon fan. Like I stuck with them through the shitty years, which has been every year since. They did win one more Super Bowl after I liked them. I remember liking the team with the stars on the helmets, and like that's what got me into them. And then they won, obviously, and I just I got into sports right at that age, so obviously that's what happened. But so obviously, you talked about I want to talk about Granite State Punk more, but your upbringing and so forth. Let's go back to the beginning of you getting into comics. How did that all go about? When did you decide that's what you wanted?
Just before that, I don't mean to cut you off here, but Travis mentioned something that's kind of interesting to me. Like he said that his wife is his editor, and it's very hard for me to imagine that because most of my previous wives, they were really so moody. I wouldn't trust them to be my editor because on a good day, great. On a bad day, I'm fucked. How does that work?
Well,
how does that work for you?
So it's really good because my wife can translate Travis, right? Like she can write the way I speak, which helps out a lot. So I've had other editors. My wife is also really good at grammar. She actually used to do book writing, the book editing for a major person. But we talked about Unsolved Mysteries earlier. I can never remember this, and I always feel stupid. So her ex-husband was Cynthia Brown. So Sylvia Brown. Sylvia Brown was a. She was a. I'm whispering like she. So she did some editing, and she worked with her. Like, so that was the psychic that they'd go to on Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah. So she was married to her son. So she did editing for her. So she's a very established editor, but she can also speak Travis in what I'm trying to say. So sometimes, because I'm bad at spelling and grammar, because my parents are drug addicts, spoiler alert, that doesn't help your education that much. Even though I have a college degree, it's literally because I was a good writer. Like what I did in school, hey, write a 1-page report. Here's 8 pages because I'm good at writing. Like, and I was like, and they'd be like, well, like you didn't spell them right, but I did more than anybody else. Like, and I was smart and I could negotiate. So that's how I got through school, and even did it in college. Same thing, because I went to film school. Bam, here's a full script. You're supposed to write a scene. I know, but I wrote a full script. There you go. Like I did more than anybody else. Like you can't. So that's how I got through. So my wife can translate all those things, which is a very awesome skill. She's a very good writer herself. And she's funny. Like she'll write a line in a thing. And I was like, oh, that's good. Well, we'll keep that. And every time she does, it's the line that someone's like, dude, I really like that line. I was like, great. The one thing I didn't write. Thanks. I appreciate that. Because she's good. She's funny. And my wife is just awesome. Like I am so blessed to have the best wife in the world. So that helps too. And she works really hard at doing it. So, and she doesn't cut me any slack.
Yeah. That's where I'd be worried. Yeah. Having my
wife. She tells me if it's bad. She absolutely will tell me if it's bad and that I need to rewrite it. And it's her money in the project too. So she wants to make it right.
Yeah, exactly. And Joel's wife helps edit with our stuff too. So Rogerio and I, we're the odd men out here. But
Origin of Comics,
yeah.
So Rochester, New Hampshire. If you for those of you guys who are again watching this and going, wow, there's a lot about New Hampshire, because that's where we're from, is right next to Dover, New Hampshire, and you guys will know, unlike most people I talk to, who originated in Dover, New Hampshire.
I was wondering if this is where we were going to head down this. So Mirage Studios, is this
Mirage Studios, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? So growing up, like writing indie comics for me, like they were the guys in Dover, like that's super achievable. Right? Yeah. like it wasn't like this thing. And then, especially, when you're my age, we had Image. So indie, like not only is indie achievable, it's hella achievable. It's happening all the time. No one told me I couldn't, right? Like everything in my world was like, indie comics is the way to go, and it's super easy, right? Image is going to blow up. Ninja Turtles is going to blow up because that's the world I lived in, living in Dover, New Hampshire. That's what we talked about. That's what we were all about. I went to the comic store. My grandma, the first comic I read was, do you guys remember when we were in school and they gave you like the magazine subscriptions and they had the couple of Marvel books on there that had so my grandmother got me Spider-Man, and literally since I was 9 years old, I have every Amazing Spider-Man because I've kept collecting it all the way through.
That's awesome.
Never quit, never stopped, always got Amazing Spider-Man. And I obviously in the 90s, my son's named Remy, so you can assume I was a crazy X-Men fan. Magneto's my favorite character of all time. So I went through that 90s, X-Men route, so many bookets to get those X-Men DVDs, the
book it. DVD. Man, I haven't heard that term in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Book it, get the X-Men VHS, the 2-part, in the black case. Mwah, good stuff. So that was my stuff. And I wanted to write, my goal was to write film. So I was in love with film. So Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Kevin Smith, I was studying them, sinking them in, watching their movies, learning how to do film. But so one of my biggest flaws in high school was, even though they told me, hey, apply to college, do all these things, I didn't care about any of that. I cared about girls and hanging out with people. That's it. Like I didn't care about any of that. So when people started getting their letters in for graduation, I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't do any of that. And I didn't again. Drug addict parents, like nobody told me like, hey, this is super important. Because your teachers tell you things that are always important, right? Like everything they say is important. Make sure you're here, do this, whatever.
Yeah.
So when I graduated high school, I was just like, fuck it. I went to the paper. Entertainment Weekly had an ad for Full Sail University. I'm sure you guys have heard of Full Sail, right? Full Sail's huge now because it has
NXT.
WWE, NXT. But back then it had nothing. But it was in Entertainment Weekly, and it was achievable. So I flew down to Florida with no plan. It was like, hey, I'm going to live here now. And decided to go to college there. Little did I know, when I got there, they were like, hey, you can't have a job, you can't do this, and you have to take like $80,000 in loans. I was like, yeah, did I tell you my parents were drug addicts? That's not going to work. So I went to a school down here called FMU and learned film. It was a random school. Here's a secret thing that Florida does that New England wouldn't do because we're not shitty human beings. In Florida, there's things called unaccredited schools. We have those in New England too, but they're called tech schools. And you know what you're getting into. But that's not their college here in Florida. They're just colleges with a nice little college thing. So, but when I was in film school, I started going to local conventions, because I loved comic books. And I met up with someone who was doing some comics, and I did some backup stories. And then I did a backup story, and I worked my way up to doing a story for Negative Burns, which is with Image and Caliber. And if you don't know what Negative Burns is, it was where Neil Gaiman was found, Brian Michael Bendis, Michael Boyer, all those guys wrote in Negative Burns. So if you want to see their early work, just their indie raw stuff, you'll find it in Negative Burns. It's really hard to find, but when you find it, they're always gems. Mike Allen, David Mack, all of them are in there. I am also in there. Later issues, way after they've left and did cool things. But so yeah, I did it for a while, and then like most people, you're about to graduate college, you go and get a girl pregnant, like you do, right? Just like you do. So I gave up comics for a few years, and just came back in like 2017. I did a few things here and there, but come back full in 2017. Did my Kickstarter for Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies, did all those, did Voodoo Nations 1 and 2, did Cthulhu Invades Oz is what I'm most known for. That was a huge one. Then we just did Holiday Spirits, which you got, and we did. We're now on Granite State Punk.
Damn. Well, hey, so I didn't realize. So really, now it's 2022. So you're entering year 5 here of doing this gig full time. So
yeah. I mean, I do have a film degree. That's what my not film degree. I do marketing. I own a web design company. That's my primary job. But this is what I'm trying to make my primary job.
Yeah. That's the goal, right? Yeah. That's cool, man. Full Sail University, man. So I actually was kind of along the same lines, when it comes to applying for schools. The reason I went to NHTI is because I was supposed to go to Keene for film. Actually, I wanted to go for film school, I should say. My best friend went to Keene for film, but I only applied to Keene because my guidance counselor said that I would have no problem getting in.
Sorry, I have a kid invading.
Here. I don't know if it was a dog or a kid.
He would like to talk to you about Poppy. Are you familiar with Poppy? So Poppy is a monster, like a bear with big teeth. And my son, who's 2 years old, is obsessed with it. He is going to be a Livid fan. He's going to love you guys' book. So whenever you come up with a kids edition, he's very interested.
Hey, Yule's family friendly.
Yule's family friendly?
Well, so, I mean, it's a horror. But.
Huggy Wuggy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got to work.
Guy. I know that one.
You do?
I know that Huggy Wuggy. Yeah, I do.
Huggy Wuggy. Yeah, that's part of that. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's fine, man. Hey, I'm in my basement because my kids would do the same thing. But
along with Siren Head.
Siren Head. My son just turned 8, and he's obsessed with Siren Head right now. I told him that I follow the guy on Twitter that created Siren Head, and he does like book covers and stuff. And he's like, "What? You know him?" I'm like, "I don't know him," but yeah. So my son's the same way.
Can we talk about your book for a minute, though? I love the design of your book. I love the logo. I love the look and feel of your book. I remember seeing it and being like, Yule is a really hard name. And I was in the middle because you guys were launched the same time as me, right? A little bit before it for Holiday Spirits.
We summer,
August.
a couple months before you. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I mean, I do Kickstarters all the time, so it was probably the Kickstarter expired or whatever. I remember seeing it and being like, it's a really cool book, and I need to get a copy. So before we go,
Sure.
give me a link, and I'll pay you some money, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll hook you up.
No, don't hook me up. You worked hard. I'm going to give you money. Your book is worth money. But I love the design of your stuff. People talked about it a lot during my Kickstarter, which is a good thing, right? So when I was doing Holiday Spirits and I was doing my tour of these videos, like I'm now, people are like, oh, Yule's a good one, and they were talking about other holiday books. So you guys are making a presence. I think you guys are kicking ass. If there's anything I can ever do to help,
Sure, man. Yeah. Oh, we appreciate that. Our issue is, through the content you put out and the quality of it. I mean, that's just says a lot about you. But is time, right? Like we both have. Joel and I work in finance. Rogierio's in advertising, and it's just tough to put the content out. Like we got Deadball coming out soon, which is all done. Yule 2. Joel's inking right now, so I think in a perfect world we wanted to have all 5 or 6 issues out of Yule in a graphic novel by this year, and here we are, issue 2 is not even out yet, so but yeah, no, those are kind words, we appreciate it, and it'd be cool to chat in the future too, potentially collaborate, because we've got some New Hampshire roots here. But
yeah. Well, it's all about networking, right? When we're doing indie comics, specifically, it's all about networking and showing that you're willing to help other people and be part of the community, right? And I've seen you guys do that by doing these videos and connect with people. That's the key to getting things, And for you guys, really, you guys need to connect with, the people in New England who are doing this. Johnny C's in Mass. I don't know if you know him. Bob Sally's in Mass. Rich Woodall. Do you know Rich Woodall at all?
No.
So Rich Woodall does
Facebook friend, but I get a lot of requests. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll friend you. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, so Rich Woodall is he runs a division of Scout, which is Black Caravan. Which is huge.
Okay.
Right. Black Caravan.
These are people who can really help you do, a tour and get that stuff, get you, how are you with over at Jetpack? Do you get friends with Ralph? You out there?
Not yet, man. So our whole thing was we wanted to have a handful of books done before we started really network or pushing to get books in stores around here. And so we haven't really done much of that yet. We've done well with sales online and through Facebook and Kickstarter and all that, but we haven't really networked much locally. So we went to Granite State Con. We were there set up, and that's where I met Schmelke, and we had him on the show too. So when you mentioned Black Caravan, but
Rich is the other part of that.
Okay, yeah. So that's the 5-year plan, right? Is we want to be able to have enough content to say, hey, we don't just have one book out, here you go. So, but it's all about process. So,
but here's the key: the sooner you can do that, the sooner they're brand loyal to you, and that's important. I am in Jetpack Comics. I have a sign that says Rochester's own Travis Gibb, with all their other stuff, right? There's stuff. John Slim's in your area too. He's really, really good to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Really is. In fact, when I was in November, if I would have known you guys, I had a comic hangout, out in Boston. We did.
Oh, damn.
Colin Devonshire is there. C.R. Florence, Nathan Chu. These guys do a whole bunch of indie stuff. You probably don't even know, but they're all in your area. New England is ripe with talent. Some beautiful talent up in there. It's because you guys have nothing else to do.
It's true.
And all of us have a story of our cousin or someone who ran into Stephen King, right? Stephen King was in the shop the other day, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I was Joe Hill. Joe Hill, I used to work at Stairway to Heaven Comics in Exeter.
Okay.
And Joe, he would just come in and sign things for kids. And hang out.
Joe's in Exeter all the time. Yeah. Man, I wish I met Stephen King. He's my freaking literary hero, I should say. But I mean, that's anyone in horror pretty much. So that's into horror, I should say.
I met him once, and you know what? I avoided Joe Hill like the plague because I was just like, he can't be that good. There's no way he's that good. It's just my New England roots that make me want to like Joe Hill. And then the pandemic hit, and I was all caught up on my book. And I was like, F it. I'll read Lock and Key. I literally was knocking on the comic store's door going, I need all the volumes like now.
Yeah.
Like, like even before I show, like I need all of this. Give me this all now.
Yeah,
because I read the Cape. That was my first Joe Hill, and it was okay, but it wasn't anything like you're not impressing me. You know, a guy who can fly a little crazy, whatever. That's not impressive.
Man, I read his novels first. I didn't even know he was into comics because at the time before we started Livid, I had gotten out of the comic game for probably 15 plus years. Like I hadn't read comics, so I didn't know anything about it. And then once we started Livid, and I was reading a lot more comics for research and doing all that, I'm like, oh shit, Joe Hill does comics and Lock and Key. But then, man, Basket Full of Heads was freaking incredible. It's like hilarious and just gory. And then Wraith, because I read Nosferatu, the novel he wrote. So Wraith is based off the villain in that novel. So I've read everything he's done in comics. I think he's freaking awesome. But to your point though, it's like you don't he's Stephen King's son, like, but to his point, he didn't want, that's why he did Joe Hill, right? He didn't want people to know that. Obviously but
again, in New England, because I'm, I have friends in New England, and I all the comic stores, Newberry, all of them are like page. Even before I was into comics, like, I was a fan of them because those are my comic stores when I go home. When I go home, I'll go to Jetpack, I'll visit there, I'll drive up to Newberry Comics, and see what they've got. There's a couple other stores, I can't even think of them, but that I'll drive to a few of them and go out there. So all of them were, heavy Joe Hill, like they should be, because it's New England's own. So I was like,
yeah, man. I'll say, Refrigerator Full of Heads was like my favorite comic I read last year. I bought the hardcover from DC Black Label, and it was freaking. I don't know if you've read it, but
I didn't. It's on my list of things I got to read. But it's it was weird because he had that whole line, so I was confused.
Yeah, Hill House. Yeah.
And now it's Refrigerator Full of Heads as a sequel.
Yeah, so we had Rio on the show. Rio, yours is doing the follow up, and we had him on to talk about that, and it's even more over the top. Like it's freaking insane, but I love it. It's horror, it's comedy. It's just it doesn't take itself seriously. I mean. Literally, you're cutting someone's head off with a Viking axe that has magical powers, and the heads stay alive and they talk. Like that's the whole concept. So this chick's carrying a basket full of the heads around that of these bad guys that she kills, and they're all sitting there talking shit to her. Like it's like a buddy cop comedy, basically. The heads are talking shit to her and stuff. So it couldn't be done in a novel. It's definitely it has to be done in a comic because of how wild it is. But
I'm excited about his new movie. What is it?
Black Phone? Yeah.
That concept seems dope. I like that a lot.
It is. I read the short story in the 20th Century Ghosts or whatever that story's in, and it's crazy how they take like a 20-page story and just like they turn it into a movie. But yeah, it doesn't seem like, it's getting crazy reviews. It was supposed to come out next month and they pushed it to the spring, I guess. But that looks pretty good.
Did you watch the Lock and Key Netflix series too?
Yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy it for what it is. Obviously I like the comic better, but I love stuff. And I love the twist in the beginning, right? Hey, here's a new key you've never seen right day one. Yeah. Scene one, I'm like, oh, all right, that's where we're going. We're going a little different direction. I like it for what it is. It's not as good as the series, but the series has that comics vibe. There's things that you can do with a comic and give a comics vibe, and comic realism. You give it a lot of leeway, right? Because we've seen comics do a lot of crazy stuff where you don't give that leeway in a TV show.
Yeah.
The way they ended the book, I'm not going to spoil for anybody, but the way they ended the book series was so phenomenal. And that it's a 6-volume set. And book 4 was its own work of art. I believe that either was nominated for Eisner Award or won an Eisner Award for book 4. And then book 6, the way they ended it was just like, when the show didn't end that way, it was kind of like, man, because that was such a cool ending. But I can understand why they did it, because they had to make the sequel, right, for season 2. And now going on, I think they're signed for 4 seasons now. So
they at least got. It's a huge hit. I will say I like the show. a good amount, but I mean, I love the comic series, but the show feels a little YA to me. You know, it's they definitely, I don't know, stripped down a lot of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have rather seen it a little bit more like Umbrella Academy, a little darker.
Yeah.
Than it is.
These guys haven't seen it yet. I loved it. I thought it was great. So, yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Got to get on that, John.
Speaking of, not that anybody cares about this, but I was thinking about doing Granite State Con this year. What do you think?
3 days this year. We'll probably do it again. It was great. The one thing, I mean, obviously it was still mid-pandemic, so you know, it was hard to, you know, freaking pitch your book with a mask on. No one could really hear you.
Sure.
But also, it was our first con, and we had no idea what we were getting into. We got stuck by freaking craft tables. All the comic people were like in their own area, like Schmelke, you know, Ben Bishop. All these guys were down in the corner, and we were sitting there between like just like arts and crafts, you know, tables.
Drink girl and the brownie lady, like that's where we were. So we were.
It's hard too when you have like one book, right? You're not going to make tons of money. Like you got to sell a lot of that one book to do stuff. So it's always hard on that. You know, it gets easier every book you have for cons. You know, in Florida, I can literally go to a con a weekend, like forever.
That's
so
wild.
Like they're not like in New England, you know, so I can go to con. But I was thinking Granite State Con, you know, I have a feeling Granite State Punk would do well there.
I would think so.
Just a thought.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, like you said, the one book thing probably hurt us, but we also, I mean, we thought of that ahead of time. We did an issue 0 for Deadball because it wasn't finished yet. So we did a half issue in black and white, which the book looks phenomenal in black and white. It looks very Frank Miller-ish, but, and then I reached out to a bunch of indie people, to try to have their books on our table, you know, buying a wholesale from them just to spread the indie love. So we had more than, you know, one and a half titles, but yeah, I mean, our table location, the pandemic, I mean, it all didn't really add up. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But it definitely made me second guess wanting to like fly somewhere to do a con right now. Like, I don't think we're there yet, but I think, like you said, Granite State Punk would crush it there. Obviously. I mean,
right. And for me, you know, being from New Hampshire, my family still lives in New Hampshire. My brother lives there. You know, it's not, I wouldn't have to pay anything. You know, I live in Rochester and Portsmouth is not a big deal.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And also, I mean,
Manchester, it's Manchester, right?
Yeah, it's in Manch, yeah. But still, that's not too bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, an hour and a half instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Joel and I talked about staying at the hotel next door, you know, so we could network with people in the hotel bars and shit. But they were sold it, or wasn't it like $400 a night or some crap like that? We're like, yeah, we're probably not going to do that. Like, we're not going to make that, you know, selling comics. So we'll just have to drive down in the morning. But it was a decent setup in there. I don't have anything to compare it to. That was our only con. So, but it felt well done for small New Hampshire setup. So yeah.
Cosplay super hot, right? You know, anime, right? If you're into any of that stuff, like that was probably the big winner of the weekend. Was just that market was just massive, right? That's what we saw mostly, John.
So that's the thing is, like, again, with it being my first con, like when my wife and I went to Boston once during the con down there, we didn't go for that. We were going to a Sox game, and we got a hotel so we could just get wasted and just have a good time, like no kids or anything. And there was a huge ass like con going on, and just anime people running in and out, you know, cosplayers. But I didn't realize how big it was. I thought maybe like 25% of the people at Granite State would be dressed up. It was the opposite. It was like 75% of people had costumes on. I had no idea it was that crazy. They had like costume competitions and everything, but yeah. So I don't even know what I was going to say. This is what happens. I start to draw a blank. I was thinking of something else when we were talking, and then we start talking about the cosplayers. Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. Back to Granite State Punk though. So this thing's fully funded, obviously, which is awesome. That just means stretch goals, and you're getting your book now. Yeah, I'm working on it here. Okay. I don't like being the man in charge of the sharing tabs here. I'm very slow.
There we go. We got a question from the gallery here. Any tips on our first con? We'll let Travis take it. Don't go.
So when you're tabling, always have something special. Know your pitch. So first have your elevator pitch or whatever the pitch is. So all my books have a pitch. So if you're talking about broke down and 4 dead bodies, you like guns, violence, and the F word. That's the book. Voodoo Nations. I normally do the voodoo hoodoo because they know that from what is it called? Friggin' sorry, I had my rum and coke. Labyrinth. Voodoo. You remind me of the Babe. Type of stuff like that. Yeah. Have your pitch. Also, if you can, so a lot of people who are indie don't print like I do. So I print in massive quantities. Most people print in small quantities, right? They print in 50s or 100s. If you're going to do that, make something special on those for variants, because that's how you're going to make your money. So if you can do a black and white version of the same book for the cover, do that. Charge the $20 because that's a big deal. Because you're not going to find a lot of people who want it, but the people who will probably buy your table. So if you can get someone to buy one, they'll probably buy everything. So that's a big, big thing. Put candy on the table. That's going to bring people to the table, bring kids to the table so you can talk to the parents. Those are good things to do. Those are some stuff. One of the things that always that con people do is who are the first time they're like, hey, do you like comics? That's always going to get the no or I'm just looking. So if they say no, the first thing you say is, then why are you at a Comic-Con? Make them feel embarrassed for being there. And then, believe it or not, you can have a conversation because you've already broke that barrier of I'm not interested. But it's better to ask them, are you okay with talking about my comic? The other thing that you can do that I don't do, but a lot of people do, is if you really want to sell, if your goal is to sell and make money, stand in front of your table and bring people over and bring them to the table and show it. I don't like to do that. I feel it's a little intrusive, but it does work. Any of my peers who do it, you can get people to sell. My goal is to get more people to come. I feel if someone comes to your table and they want to buy, they're more likely to actually keep reading versus I can convince someone to buy something. I'd rather them want to buy it, right? They were there and they're super interested.
No, that's good.
Email lists. Because that's how you can get them for your Kickstarter or for your next thing. If you can get that email list, you can get them. So if you can't get them to do something else, at least get them to fill out your email list. Because when they ask you for a card, even if you have a card, say no. But if you write your email down, I'll get you some stuff, and that gets you in the door.
You know what we did to try to get the emails? we did a gift basket, like a raffle. So so we basically said, give us your email to get on our list, and we're going to do a random drawing tomorrow, or whatever. But and then we did Livid Comics balloons. You mentioned candy on the table. We were the only ones that were handing balloons out there, so it was a big hit. You saw Livid balloons just littering the place. It was awesome. Some floated up to the rafters. It was pretty cool. Right. That's actually how I met Smelky, because his daughter got some balloons from us, and he's like, "Hey, you're the guys with the balloons." It helped. It got people to our table. I mean, sometimes there was people just coming over saying, "Hey, can I have a balloon?" But you get them over there to talk. But those are some.
And that's a trick too for cons. So this works really good in Florida. Is if you can get an artist who's there to do a cover, that's really, really good because you can refer people back to each other. So if I was going to New England Con, I would probably hire Smelky for his chuff to do a cover, because then I can get people to sign from them and he can send people to me. Right? Hey, I did this guy's cover, and the people who are after him will come to me. Some people, sometimes you can't afford stuff like that, so you may have to get someone more affordable, but those things really, really help because you can start referring people back and forth. That's what's great about anthologies. If you're in anthologies, try to get as many people. If you're putting together an anthology, try to get as many people around you in it first. And I know it's weird because you're like, oh, they're just my friends. We're kind of selling to the same crew. We all know the same thing. True, but when you do a con and you're all paying for separate tables, you can refer each other to the stuff. Oh, hey, you got open up that Holiday Spirits in front of you.
Yeah.
Go to the back.
I was thinking.
No. The back couple of pages.
Yeah.
So there's a red page. Keep going. I just saw it. So keep flipping to red. Keep going.
Here, I'm just gonna go like this. So we got this.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Sorry, it's backwards on my screen. So
one more.
One more. All right.
So there has all those blank things. Those are signature pages. So when we're at a con, I can send them to my friends who are peers to do stuff to sign the book as well. This gets people to talk about the table, and they've already invested in one person, so you know that you can pitch hard because they're willing to buy a friggin' comic book.
Yeah,
man. Most people pitch to people who aren't going to buy a comic book regardless.
That's great.
Don't tell them.
These are some good. I mean, we're selfish. We're learning here too. So, like we said, we've only been to one con. So, that's good info. Hopefully, whoever it was that asked that got some good pointers there. I want to say also, Travis.
What?
Oh, there you go. Oh, your camera went off for a second. I thought you were going.
I know we have issues. Who are they? I know them.
John froze up, I think. John's am I froze up or is John froze up?
John froze up for a minute. I think John's having issues.
He's back.
I'm back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on. My internet sucks. I hate Comcast. Do you have Comcast in Florida?
No, we have Bright House. Not Bright House, Spectrum. It's really bad.
So, real quick side note, that's what I was about to complain about off air was every time I go to watch something the last couple of weeks, like on Netflix or Hulu or any of the streaming services, it shuts down like randomly throughout the night. And I get so pissed off. Like I keep meaning to call them, but you know how it is. Like I'm going to call them and be on the phone for 2 hours and I just don't want to do it. Anyways, I was saying Silverbacks did the cover for Deadball too for us. So I had to get this one. Cover he did for you guys. But damn it, I lost my train of thought again because of my stupid internet. So I'm just gonna forget what I was gonna say, and we'll go right back into Granite State Punk here. So so you're crushing it here. You're already up to 175 backers here in just a couple days, which is freaking awesome. For stretch goals, since we can talk stretch goals now, since we're already to that point. What do we got going on there?
So they're right there. So first we get this art print. So you guys will love this. So this is the fictional punk band that we've created, the Yankee Swappers art print. They're fantastic. They're very, very cool. That is my fictional punk band. I like them a lot. What I love about it is I hired someone to do that, and he could not understand. He wasn't American, and he just couldn't understand why I wanted an American flag but a British outfit. And he kept like putting a British behind it. So I was just like, let's go with it. Like it's very punk, right? So a punk band would talk about Yankees but put the British flag behind it. I was like, let's do it.
I had a fictional punk band too named Preparation H-Bomb. That was my
Jesus.
So that's at 4,000, and then at 5,000, we're doing 4 additional pages.
Oh, nice.
You guys will like this page. So one of the pages is actually me ranting about New Hampshire's punk rock scene. So we're going to talk about the queers and all that, and do some really cool stuff.
Yeah. No, we used to play with Dropkick Murphys up at the Elvis Room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like on a Wednesday night, like I said, it'll be like $3. There'd be nobody there, right? It was like us, them, and their girlfriends. We didn't have girlfriends. We were losers, right? But it's just, it's incredible, man. It's just such a cool time and a cool scene. I'm so glad somebody's paying homage to that. So it's right on. So it's good.
Yeah. This book's right in your wheelhouse, Joel. New Hampshire punk rock. Yeah, you're Yeah.
If you need some material, Travis, I could probably inject you full of stories and limericks from the scene in those days. So
I may want, if you give me your band's logo, I can maybe put it on a shirt.
Sure.
My dude's wearing a bunch of white shirts, so we can maybe add it in.
Yeah, there you go. I got all those names for all those bands around the wall. Stretch Armstrong, Gape Seed. What was it? Naked Thoughts, right? Was your other band that you said?
Yeah,
right?
Naked Thoughts. That was my friend's band.
Everybody spray painted the wall of that club, so I mean there was names all over the place. I still have photos too. What was it? .04 was another band. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so yeah. I'll get some pictures. I'll show you from inside Safe and Sound, so you can have some reference too. Because I still have some photos. Yeah, man. You can look it up.
Man, I never expected your freaking band days to come up so much on our show, Joel. It's hilarious. I swear, like every other show, Joel's sharing stories about his band days, which half the authors we've had on are in bands or were in bands too.
He just wants to be that cool guy. I was in a band once, guys. He wants to be like one cooler than the writer or the artist.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Did all this stuff I don't know.
Yeah. John and I are writers. We got nothing.
Yeah, I really do. Like that's the novel. The main characters or the group of kids is based off my group of friends growing up, and the main character obviously was based on me. And I got through the first draft, and I'm like, holy shit, the main character is boring as hell. Like, am I just that guy? Like, so obviously I had to spice up my childhood a bit, but
This image here looks like the inside of Safe and Sound on a Wednesday night at like about 10:30 at night. This is about what it looked like. So yeah.
Yeah, that's our main cover. That's the main cover artist. He did this awesome cover, which I was so proud of, and I love it. It's so dark and I mean, look at the detail. Like you could look at that page for an hour and find new cool skeleton dudes.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
I love it.
Great art.
Yeah,
I like the colors too.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. Like everything about it, the style, the color, it all goes perfect. So. I like this one too.
I mean, if you're in New England, you gotta love that cover, right?
Yeah, yeah. Live free or die.
One of the things I did too was I put a tattoo on his neck, which I thought was very New Hampshire-ish, right? So he's got a heart on one side, he's got a skull on the other, and because that's kind of how you live in New Hampshire. Like death is the only way, right? If you're living, the only way to live is die, and the only way to die is live.
Yeah, man, that's like a younger version of my father-in-law over there. So tattoo on the neck, smoking a cig. I never saw him in a jacket like that, but he probably had one in the day. Oh man, yeah. So this gives a
monster.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So and then this one is the one that I saw this one. The Old Man on the Mountain. That's badass. So
I gotta ask Travis, will there be any sequel with like Indian Head, that other formation up northern part of the state?
I do have a bigger plot with the Indian Heads. If it
oh good.
This is doing really well, so probably actually the sequel I haven't written it yet, but I think it's gonna be Salem, and then I'm gonna go comma New Hampshire. Like it'll say Mass, and then I'll cross it out and put New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And we'll do something in Salem, New Hampshire, because Salem, New Hampshire was always that like when you were young and you didn't know better, you're like, oh, I'm in Salem. Oh no, not that Salem. I'm in the uncool Salem.
Well, so my mind, Travis, immediately goes to America's Stonehenge is in Salem, New Hampshire too. You could tie in. Yeah.
Well, we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, we've got some stuff. And I want to put Spalding in the issue at some point because Spalding's just a cool building. I mean, it is where I graduated, so I do have some personal thing, but Spalding's just a cool old building. Some of the college at Keene College, I want to get that in there is really cool. I used to I had a friend who's a photographer, and I hung out in that dark room a lot out in the Keene College, so I'd like to do that there. We have some dope-ass statues in New England that need some love and covers. And so
yeah. What's the other one? Madame Sherry's staircase out there in Chesterfield. That's that haunted stone staircase that goes up into nothing. That was like her mansion out in the woods. That was always a pretty cool setting for something too. Yeah.
Well, my mind went to, so when you said Salem, isn't Canopy in Salem? I went there a handful of times. Canopy Lake Park. Yeah. That was my mind went thinking theme park there. Yeah. See, like you said, Salem was like, I mean, that was too far away from the sport.
It's a theme park, that's what we work with here.
This is what we do. Yeah, I'm thinking of roller coasters over here.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get water country. We'll do the whole nine.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Sandy's Village. And
Clark's Trading Post.
Oh, yeah, a funny story actually. Since you're from New Hampshire, you'll actually appreciate this a bit. So we were like 3 pages into our book, Yule, and we were on New Hampshire Chronicle to talk about Livid and all that. And Joel, when you described it to Audrey, is it Audrey or Aubrey? Audrey Cox, right? Oh yeah. When you described it to her, she took it as there's scenes at Santa's Village in freaking like Jefferson, New Hampshire. I'm like, no, because she was asking me about that in the interview. I'm like, no. She's like, it comes back to New Hampshire, right? I'm like, no. Like she thought we were gonna have scenes at like the amusement park. I
think you said, what's it, Franklin Falls, what we called it, or something?
Well, yeah, but I think she thought Santa's. You said
right.
Santa's Village, like his workshop, basically, and she thought like it was gonna be there. So it was just it's kind of funny, but
people don't know what we're talking about. There's a theme park in New Hampshire that's based around Christmas called Santa's Village, and it's Mick Foley will actually come up there and play Santa Claus from WWE.
Yeah, and just randomly pop in and do it.
Dude, so I used to work at Universal Studios, and I met Mick Foley one time. Like the dude, like when you're a celebrity and you go to a theme park, you literally just have to say, "Hey, I'm a celebrity," and they'll have someone escort you around so you don't get mauled. He made it like halfway through the park and was hiding in work because he didn't know. But I told him I was from New Hampshire. And literally, he talked my ear off for 2 hours about Santa's Village. I was like, dude, I've only been there once. Like, let's talk about wrestling. Like, so more of a steel cage, right?
Yeah. You want to talk about him getting thrown off the cell, and he's like, yeah. So did they add anything to the park?
And I was such a douche, man. Like so I hung with the whole time. I got him a person to walk him around. And I was so nervous to ask him for the autograph. I waited until it was in the park and asked him for the autograph. And he signed my pay stub because that's all I had. But then he got mauled by people. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
That's funny.
Sorry.
No, yeah, that's I haven't watched wrestling as much these days, but I used to be pretty into it, and I went to I think it was at Universal actually, where they did TNA or whatever. So yeah, I met some of the wrestlers there and stuff. That was cool, but never met Foley.
John, can you go a couple more pages? I want to show Joel something.
Sure. Yeah.
On the Kickstarter.
On Kickstarter, yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. You want me to keep going down a bit?
Yeah. So, okay. One of the other covers we have is I'll do a punk remark for you. We'll get the black and white, and I'll do a punk remark. But that's not what I want to show you. Go down the preview. And the next page.
New Hampshire looking house.
Oh yeah. That's a straight from Lafayette Street. But if you look at her, she's wearing a Naked Thoughts shirt right there.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome. Zoom in, like whatever you got to do.
Yeah, make it larger, John. Load it up a little bit.
On the shirt. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I'm 25 again.
Yeah, Naked Thoughts, and that's the original logo.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's awesome. Bring back my shirt.
I dated it to 2000, which they were not together anymore in 2000, but that's just to make our guys a little bit younger because that's cool.
Right. Now, does your story take place during that era, or is it now but with that kind of context?
It's now with that kind of context. The guy's probably in. As you can see, he's kind of like faux punk. He's back in the punk, so he's probably in like 35. So he's probably like 5 years younger than us or so.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a little bit beyond us, but frame of reference and all.
Yeah.
So I love this, by the way. The freaking the text going across the panels like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this book, just to give you an idea of how it's written like SLC Punk. So it's got a lot of third wall breaking, and I talk to the audience a lot with traditional like modern horror like vibe. So if you picked up anything from speaking of Black Caravan, a Black Caravan book, you'll kind of get that vibe like a Electric Black or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. It looks awesome, man. I love the art style. It's so cool.
It's really original. I dig it.
Yeah.
He did a great job. He's never been to New Hampshire and like getting our New England style houses and the trees and all that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was hard for Rogério. We gave him a baseball story, and he's Brazilian, so
right. Sure.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, Rogério.
Yeah, no worries.
Trying to send a lot of reference photos and talking through panels, right? I'm sure you had to do the same thing. Like talking about New Hampshire, but.
Yeah. We did our best to try to make sure, but he killed it, man. He's really, really good. His other book is called Discordia, which is a horror book, and that is like in the 50s, so it's kind of got all that 50s style. And then, I feel this modern setting is really, really good modern New England setting,
Yeah.
Because some books you read, like, did you guys read Audible?
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
Loved it. Did not know it was in New Hampshire until that random issue, like issue 3 or whatever.
See, here's the thing. I bought the trade version of it, so I knew going into it.
Yeah. Until issue 3, I didn't get it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I actually got it at the local shop in Concord.
That. If you ask about my favorite book of the year, that's probably my favorite book of the year.
Yeah, that's getting like some recognition, man. Like that's it's on like. I think it was on like EW's, like Entertainment Weekly's, like top horror list for books.
It's fire. Man. That book is crazy go nuts.
Yeah,
right. The novel Red Hands by Chris Golden is also in New Hampshire. It's odd. So
I didn't know that.
Yep, takes place in New Hampshire too.
Isn't Chris Golden the guy who ruined Punisher?
Did he ruin?
Probably.
Hold on.
He does write comics, so I don't know. He must have done the Punisher.
So you remember Marvel Knights? So Marvel Knights had a Punisher. Yeah, it was Chris Golden. I met Chris Golden. So you remember Marvel Knights Punisher? The Punisher story that nobody talks about was written by Chris Golden. He's the one who turned Punisher into the Angel Killer. Remember, he had the Angel and he didn't have the bullets. That was right. Chris Golden. He that's why he doesn't work for Marvel or anything anymore, because people shunned him. I remember meeting him at what was it, Enterprise in Portsmouth? Was that the store?
Probably. I think of records, but that's not right. My mind goes to music instead.
No, yeah, there was a sci-fi play website. I think it was called Enterprise, and it was done by this guy, and he had very little comics, but he had like sci-fi memorabilia, especially Star Trek. But he would go to cons and like have extra prints of like the Stargate team or whatever, Star Wars.
Well, Chris Golden is from Northern Mass too, so it makes sense, right? In the same area. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know his history with the Punisher. I knew he's done stuff with some of the big titles, but
yeah, he ruined the Punisher. Like that's the most hated storyline of the Punisher.
We had him on the show. I wish we brought it up. I wish we knew. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. Well, we try not to do that, but
we'll bring him on and have you on, Travis, and you guys can hash.
I'll ask that
question.
Well, he was the second comic creator I ever met. Obviously, I met Kevin Eastman but I went out to, because I was huge into Kevin Smith, so Marvel Knights was my jam, right? So Daredevil, like I'm in, and like nobody to Punisher. And I even thought it was cool until like I realized that everybody in the world did not share my opinion about that. And Garth Ennis fix it in a line, right? Garth Ennis is like, I met some angels, didn't like it, didn't stick, killed, and he shows them dying. Like he shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. The Punisher is one of those characters you don't fuck with. Like they even changed his logo, and people are flipping out. Right?
Yeah. They just changed his logo.
Travis, when you're writing your panels, you do very detailed depiction of what you want the panel, or do you have any type of negotiation with your artists?
Oh, I trust my artists. Anybody I hire, I trust. So I write a little loosey-goosey. Certain things, like this particular scene, like I had a particular thing in mind when I wanted it. So I said, I need 99 skulls. I told them there needs to be 99 there. I haven't counted, but if there's not 99, I'm going to be sad. So for this particular panel, like it was a little bit more detailed. But no, most of the time I'm pretty loosey-goosey and have a very basic description. and write that. This script was tough because I knew the vision of the story so well, and I wrote a lot. Like, as you can see, there's a lot of bubbles. There's a lot of exposition. Like, I had a lot to say, and my wife has had to cut that down because I had so much to say, and some of it's really good. Like, I really want to give. I can't wait to give you the extended cut. Like, if you get the digital deluxe, you can have some of my dialogue. So I had to cut out some really good stuff. But no, I try to let the artists do their stuff. But I do, in any script, I'll have like 3 or 4 pages that they need to be this way. And then the rest of the artists can kind of do what they need to do.
Yeah, I think that's always like, I mean, for myself, still, you know, I've only done a handful of scripts to this point. It is the struggle is how much detail to give.
Right.
You know, like on this page here, you know, like would you just write like, you know, 4, you know, page whatever, 4 panels and then explain each panel, or, you know, hey, there needs to basically be a splash page here with like 3 smaller panels on top of it. You know,
let's check. I'm going to look at my script right now.
Ah, there you go.
Let's find out what I wrote.
Because there's only a handful of pages, like you said, where I'm like, all right, in my head, I picture the page where I want like, you know, this one panel being much bigger than the others, and I'll like point that out. But usually I'm pretty loose with the, you know, when I write the scripts out for these guys. But
yeah, actually, there actually wasn't much in here. Actually, the actual panel that I was thinking of is the panel, the one that you guys liked with all the words in between. Like that was very laid out because I needed each word in it, and writing that is really hard, right? I need this one big word, and then I need these captions, and then the middle's this. So this panel like was literally you know, full page spread. Zeke pulls back the wood and throws it aside on top of the left-hand side of the page. We see 99 skulls and bodies all buried into the ground with occult symbols everywhere. You know, sound effect thud. Zeke, what the fuck? And then I did a picture. I found some in the script. There's actually some pictures here. I can show you.
oh yeah, let me stop sharing this here. If
yeah, I can show you. Talking shop now.
Oh, this is the stuff I always want to talk about, but I never know if anyone else does. So.
Yeah. So like I was like, this is my vision, right, for that.
Yeah, nice.
So, yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty loose. You know, I don't do a lot of stuff. You know.
Yeah.
We're looking under the hood here. This is cool.
So.
That's when we were talking to Richard Hamilton, who's done stuff for like How to Train a Dragon or whatever. I was like, yeah, asking him about scripts setup. Like, obviously, you know, anyone you talk to in comics, they'll always say there's no way that everyone has to follow. Everyone does their own thing. Like Marvel writers do things different than DC and whatever. So, like, I read a book by Bendis. That's how I kind of tried to get my wings under me. And then I took the masterclass by Neil Gaiman. That helped a ton. I took a class by Scott Snyder that he did here, like a Zoom class.
Yeah, I took that class. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Nice.
I actually follow his. I don't know if you do his Substack, but I follow his Substack and follow his class.
Yeah.
So I do that, but I was in that class. I was in that class. He did it kind of on his back porch, right? It was like a women's group that put it on.
Well, no, he does, because I just recently did it. I don't know if he does this like each year or whatever, but he was like most of his classes he hosted in like a comic shop, his local shop. He would go down.
Oh yeah. I've done that one too.
Yeah. I never do it live because it's always during our shows, but they do the recordings or whatever.
I wanted to show the Rochester Fair, like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Like I feel he did a great job of never being here.
Right. Oh, the houses are spot on, man. I love the background.
He's got this. Oh yeah. See the houses.
Yeah, it's got like the 1930s siding on them too.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I gave him like street views of the street of what I wanted, you know, and that's what Rochester Fair looks like. If you pull up to the fair, that's the big building. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how the sign looks. So.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Pretty so cool. Fun. Yeah, we have Deadball's got the Carnival Fair scene in it too, but it's fictitious. We just made it up. So
we didn't even name the town, so I suppose we could, but I
would always name towns. So stuff like that is really. I found that stuff really resonates with people, like fictional towns. Like for my comic Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, Canyon City. I have a fiction. Like people, I sent out a postcard of the fictional city. Like Like the city exists, but like my version of it, but I have a postcard with all of it. But what was cool was we sent it through the Canyon City post office. So they had to look at these postcards and be like, what the fuck? And I made bumper stickers because it's called Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. The premise is 2 guys break down on the side of the road and they have 4 dead bodies. There's bumper stickers for our second campaign that I've seen people take pictures of them that says my car broke down in Canyon City because it's kind of like a dumpy city.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I will have to toss that into issue 2. I mean, issue 1, there really wasn't a spot to really mention it anyways, but the fact that the main character is on a baseball team probably helped to have his town name in there too, so his city name. But yeah, we're at the 90-minute mark, so I figure we should check in here. Am I still freezing up on you guys, by the way?
No.
Am I good?
No, you're okay.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
Man,
All
I was gonna fuck with him. I'm so upset that you guys just jumped in there.
Oh man, it's only happened to me on like 2 shows out of almost 50 now. But
well, most of the time I can't see you because you're wearing camouflage, so you just blend in.
hey, I'm in New Hampshire. This is what you do in New
I
Hampshire.
just see a face periodically.
Yeah. I told my wife to bring down a sweatshirt for me because they're quarantined upstairs right now, and she brought this one. So blame her.
Do they got COVID, or you're just keeping them up there?
What's that? Oh yeah, no. We had a COVID crisis in our house, so it's been a shit show this last week. Back to normal pretty much, but I got sick of wearing the same hoodie all week because I couldn't go in my bedroom. So, and it's the same one I wore on the last show. So I'm like, I can't wear it on 2 shows in a row. People are gonna think I don't change. So
You have black shirts like I have, and then the problem's solved. So I just I've been in Zoom meetings all week for my day job. And people probably think I have no other clothes or that I'm wearing the same shirt. But it's like, no, I did the Steve Jobs thing and spot like the same outfit. Yeah,
well,
I started.
I used to wear the Livid shirts on every show, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm whoring us out so bad with the Livid background, the Livid T-shirt, the Livid logo up to this side. Like,
right.
It's just blinding people. But
yeah, never too much. You're selling yourself, so it's all right.
Well, yeah, they close their eyes and they just see the Livid logo and they go to bed. Assuming anyone watches us right before bed, I don't know.
there's some people here.
Everyone on Friday night is just be like, yo, the Livid, like, what are you guys doing? It's TGI Fridays on, Bob Saget's dead. Like, what are we going to watch? Livid is on. That's what we've got to do, you know?
Yeah, we don't have TGIF anymore. We got freaking Livid Friday. Yeah.
It was Belky or Livid, so we just had to, Livid's all we got left. We prefer Belky, I'll be honest, Sean, but, like, it's gone, so.
Oh, yeah. No, like I said earlier, we get a lot more views after the fact, which sucks for commenting, it's random. Our shows will have some shows where we have a bunch of people saying stuff, and then shows where
porn spammers are commenting. So the porn spammers are commenting on the site. So that.
Oh, you know what it is too? I don't even see any of that anymore because I'm not logged in under Livid. So
blocking them and deleting them anyway. But we get like the I don't know, the Northern Russian porn spam comments. So
yeah, but is it like a link? Can we click on it in the show or no?
Yeah, you could. You'd probably get some Trojan horse.
Oh, I definitely, absolutely, yeah.
The only thing I'm sorry about on the show is that we don't have any haters. Like when you have haters, that means that you grow you're growing online when you get haters. So
yeah, you need some trolls to tell you that you're not good. Click that link, right?
Yeah, haters are welcome.
Let's get married tonight. Yeah. Oh man,
we're gonna watch John order a Russian bride.
Yeah. Soviet Russian link, click you.
Is that Anthony commenting? I assume he runs that channel there. Yeah, he does. He does hilarious stuff on Twitter where he actually he'll post his chats with those like I don't even know what you call them, sex bots. Yeah, just full blown conversation. Yeah, it's always me. Some of the funniest conversations I've seen in a while on there. He'll just have a full blown conversation with them. I wish I could remember some of them off the top of my head, but So
nice.
you can go check out his stuff too. We can give him a
he
quick
just
plug.
followed me. Oh, thanks, man. I can now we can now be best friends.
Yeah.
Livid life, making friends and connections. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We do have to give a shout out to Meatloaf and Louis Anderson today, though. All right, so before we wrap,
Travis is a huge Meatloaf fan. I wanted to bring that up. I saw that on Facebook today. So it's tough, man. You're
The
a huge
worst
fan.
part is everyone thinks you're kidding. Like everyone's like, "Is there a joke?"
Yeah, did you really try?
Meatloaf is my dude. Like that was the guy growing up. He was the band I listened to when everyone was when you were doing your punk bands and thinking that you're famous. I was just in the parking lot jamming out to Bat Out of Hell too. Trying to figure out what that was. I just know I wasn't going to do it. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But Meatloaf really spoke to me. Especially like songs like "Objects in the Rearview Mirror." It talked about. Being in a family that you couldn't get around, had that love, you had that friend who died, all those things really resonated with me, the music of Jim Steinman. So growing up, that was my band. He was my jam. I was listening to him probably more than anybody else. That album, Bat Out of Hell 2, really spoke to me. And I've met him several times, and he's really influenced me. I'm devastated. In fact, my comic books broke down in 4 Dead Bodies. Every issue of that is a Meatloaf song as the title.
Wow. Yeah, he was one of the few, like, in the 70s it's kind of a little bit more prevalent, but really to do like a rock opera album like that, immediately think of like King Diamond as another one. And I think of Meatloaf is when somebody says, hey, rock opera. I mean, Rush a little bit kind of had some rock opera stuff.
And Queen, of course,
Right, true, yeah, but just think of like that joy, like. But he carried it through, like his career into the 90s, right? I mean, Bat Out of Hell 2 came out, right? It's still kind of that rock opera thing. And it's like, I would love to see a modern band like put together a new album that's a rock opera. It would be fabulous, So they just don't do it. So.
I don't know if you knew this too, Joel. He's a huge baseball fan, which we are. Obviously, we have a comic book based off a baseball character. He was like a hardcore fantasy baseball dude. I heard him on like XM radio talking about fantasy baseball. I was like, that's fucking Meatloaf. What?
Yeah, Meatloaf liked baseball, and he really liked rubber duckies. He has a huge rubber ducky, like seriously, he has a massive rubber ducky collection for whatever reason.
Where does that end up, right? Like, where does that go now? Yeah.
I'm sure that's the one thing the wife is like, he's dead, finally. Let's get out of here.
Well, that's how I justify my comic collection, Travis. I tell my wife, like, you're going to have the most killer estate sale when I'm dead. Like, you're not even going to realize it. Like, just don't sell them for the cover price. Like, I have to write on the back, like, okay, it's first appearance Sentinels. This is what
I've been having that conversation with my wife. I'm like, honey, I need to go to my comic collection and write down what's important so you're aware. Because like I play online poker sometimes, and there's this poker group, and they're always trying to like get me to play by going, oh, the first appearance of this. Yeah, I bought it when it came out. Like, come on. There's very few, especially if you get the modern stuff. My comic collection, my stack is this big. In fact, I'm going to show tomorrow called Comic Burrito, and we're going to go over my comic stack, and it was this big this week. Like, I read almost all Marvel. Like, I read half of DC, and then my Marvel DC collection is super high, not counting my Kickstarter, because I don't know if you know, I'm a super backer. So I'm at 581 backs.
I saw that just a minute ago.
I don't goof around. Like comics, I live, breathe, and die comics. I love them. I love the medium. I love everything about it. So I have all those things, and I love it.
I just picked this one up the other day, by the way. Freaking awesome. Jeff Lemire wrote it. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a cool, unique approach to Swamp Thing, I guess, with the like apocalyptic type scenario, but like freaking like this double splash page, like freaking ripping body limbs off and stuff. Like, but anyways, that was my last trip to the comic store. I got that, and then I got the trade version of Electric Black, actually, because we had just had Smoky on, and I'm like, I want to get that.
Throw it up there, John. Throw it up.
Oh,
get you on screen.
Sorry. Yeah. Cool. Great. Like you said, the art style definitely Granite State Punk has some similar vibes to it for sure.
Yeah. They're definitely different art, but like it's that modern vibe. Some Killing Automo, they all kind of look very similar.
Yeah.
Which is cool, which is hard for me. Like, I don't know about you, John, but it's hard for me. Like, I just know what I like, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a crap if other people like it. And then I found that you should probably care about what other people like because you'll sell more comics. Nobody told me that. I was just like, I like it, so what does it matter? Like, my Broke Down in 4 Bodies, if you look up here, let me see.
Hold on here. I go full screen.
It's kind of an anime style, which I liked. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's kind of an anime style. Let me see if I can get the other one.
It's all backwards.
Well,
But you...
it's fine. You don't need. There's no image word, so it's okay.
Oh no! I was just saying when you turn your camera just to remember because it's all like trying to be.
Yeah, John, it's really over here, but it's over there.
Right. So when I did that, I did it on purpose, because you look at any crime comic, and it's noir, black and white, dark, right? And I was like, oh, well, I want to do it like Quentin Tarantino movie. Quentin Tarantino took crime from like Godfather to like this bright, shiny thing. Like, I'm going to kind of do the same vibe. Well, there's a reason why they do that, right? Like that sells. So it was harder to sell my crime book because it was bright and shiny versus stuff. So things like that matter, When I looked at your book, I was like, oh, it's horror based. You can definitely tell, like, because I stuck in that realm. It's very hard, especially with our indie budget to be able to break those barriers. Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to do a whole. Some year I'll do a whole oil painted book. That's one of my goals, is to do every page.
Nice.
Oil painting, but it would take. I think I was taking like 10 to 12 months to do a book.
Well, I remember when we created Livid, I thought you were going to try to do that your first book, and at the time I didn't realize how much would go into even making a digital book. Doing it digitally like we do, but I can't even imagine that shit. How many panels would that be? Like 80 panels you'd have to hand paint. Whatever, like that.
70. I think there were 77 panels in Yule 1. So basically, 77 paintings if you did each panel as a painting.
It'd be pretty wild though. Having each original though, that'd be pretty cool. But
yeah, put those on Kickstarter as stretch goals and things. And what we just did, I just colored out Deadball. I used a watercolor technique because I wanted to give it a very antique looking stained, runny, shitty-ish kind of look to the color.
Right.
You can't like paint bucket tool drop in like a big swatch of color. So I literally have to sit there and like hand paint every single pixel on that digitally with the watercolor. So it took a long time. And there's one big splash scene that Ruggiero did, which he said almost killed him drawing, was the Ferris wheel scene, right? But there's so many color cuts in that one page, man. It took me like couple weeks to get that colored out.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was an ass kicker. But liking that loose style, the reason my brain's going that way is thinking of like the looser style of Granite State Punk, and I think that's something you're starting to see more in the art with comics now. Is people aren't sitting there having to be so tight and technical and worry about line weights and things like that. Like, who gives a shit? Just throw it up there, put some emotion in it, let it rip. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. And it's hard too because sometimes when you cut the corners or you do stuff like that, it's hard to break that mold. Like one of the, Patrick, like he was doing a lot of cross hatching, and I was like, hey, I'm not seeing the faces like much as I'd like because you're worried about the texture of the whole vibe of the thing. Like, so some of those things become very frustrating, like later on, in certain angles and stuff like that. It's artistically right, but it's not making visual sense because I need to see his face. He looks, he looks like he has a beard. Let's do that. So interesting things like
that. It all fascinates me. Like every time these guys send a panel to me, it's like freaking Christmas morning. I'm sure it's the same with you. Like, and we had 2 books going on at once too. So it was just, we have a group chat between the 3 of us, and there's a page for Yule, a page for Deadball. And it's like, boom, boom. Like, this is so awesome. Just sitting back and watching this all come in now. But but we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I know you got another show coming up here, so
yeah, I got to get there at 11.
Yeah. Give you a quick minute. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about Granite State before we head out, or
no. If you're watching this, and especially if you're from New England and you're seeing this, back it. You'll love it. I'm a New England boy. Live for a die, motherfucker. Like, I'm with you. Like, let's do it. Literally, this is the best thing I've ever written. Like, and I'm not exact like this. I'm more proud of this than anything else I've written. It's a one shot. It's very New England focused, but it's also a very cool, like, alternate history of our area. If you like punk rock, if you like SLC punk, stuff like that, you're going to really vibe with it. So check it out. I think you'll dig it,
Yeah, I'm excited. Cool. I backed it in the first 20 minutes. So yeah, I always, now that I've done projects too, if there's a project I know I'm going to back, I go right in and do it when it launches, just to help boost that early morning sale, so
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so cool. Well, we'll let you hop to the other show and just keep on talking. Hopefully you got some more Coke and rum, and
yeah, I do got to get a refill. But yeah, let's hang out one time off air, and there's some cool stuff. We'll get to know each other a little better.
Definitely.
All right.
Sounds all right, buddy. We'll see you up in New Hampshire too. Hope everyone has a good week.
Yeah, I come up once a year, so we'll definitely make sure that sometime.
Yeah.
Granite State Punk. I'm gonna try Granite State Con. I'm gonna try to be there, so we'll see if that can work out.
Yeah, let's race some hell. Let's bring the punk to it.
Right. And Roberta, we'll have to. All my team for my other books are from Brazil, so we'll have to see if you know any of them. Alan Emanuel's from Brazil. He does all my colors. He does colors on all my other books besides this one. How do you say his name? Geraldo? Hold on. I gotta say his name right, or I'm gonna feel like an idiot. Gillard Golart is his name. Does some really, really cool stuff. Also, lots of skulls. Apparently, skulls are my thing in 2022. They're voodoo and they're in Mexico, so you got the Day of the Dead, fun shenanigans.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, have fun, guys. I got another show.
Awesome.
Live Fear Die. Back Granite State Punk. If you don't, I will not be your friend. And you want to be? I'm a cool guy.
So keep up the good.
Awesome.
All right,
yeah, man. Have a good weekend. Take it easy, everybody. Good night.